So much to get through. Right, how do you deal with a topic as complicated as mental health? Well, one way was, we thought, was to have a conversation with Olga Tokarczuk, who you've met already. Now, Olga trained as a clinical psychologist, and in her writing writes a lot about mental illness and the spectrum that exists between mental, for want of a better word, normality and mental illness. And she's going to be interviewed by Mariam Claeson. Please welcome them both.
Hi, once again. So thank you, Ola Rosling, for those positive things. It's become better. But first of all, before the first question, I would like to confess that this is only my profession from the very far past. I don't work as a psychotherapist anymore. I devoted myself not to facts, but to imagination, and all my job is just inventing things which are not real. So I'm not sure if I would be good source for information, valuable information here. But anyway, let's start.
I think on the contrary, to be very honest with you, it's a great honor to talk about the intersection of mental health and literature and your contribution to us thinking about mental health in a different way. So thank you. You know, when you talk to many young people who would argue that we have a mental health crisis, Ola, they would say that in order to tackle the rising anxiety, depression, suicide ideation, self-harm, those things that many young people are challenged with today, they feel that we really require transformational change, collective action, and that's being argued both at individual, family, and societal level. You have been called, and I quote, an archaeologist of collective psyche. So I think you are the right person to ask, how can we mobilize collective action? Do we have to all get collectively depressed first?
As Ola said, it doesn't work. This is not true. But in my opinion, I think that there is a big change in our mental well-being, I would say. But depression is a word, for me, it's too general. And it's easy to just to say depression. It seems to me that there are 4 riders of apocalypse in our mental health. Of course, the anxiety, this is the first thing connected with the very not stable situation all over the world because of wars, a chaotic situation, very quick changes and so on, but also climate changes. And loss, that we are losing things. And for instance, like species of many animals, every single year, every single month, we're losing something from the nature, and we are quite aware of this. So we could say that we are in the constant mourning which is not expressed, not even properly, but at all. And the third rider is helplessness, because we try to protest, we try to do, we try to sign letters and do everything what we imagine we can do, but it's futile, it doesn't work. So this feeling of helplessness is killing us. It seems to me that the psychologists used to say that helplessness very often becoming aggression. So this is my understanding of this cancel culture. So aggression, you know, towards people very similar to us. And the 4th rider of apocalypse is kind of how to call it? I forgot the word. Kind of that we are completely not concentrated all the time, that we are cannot concentrate on things we are perceiving, we are experienced, and we distraction, yeah, with this thank you. This is my distraction, this destructive mind. This destructive mind is everywhere, and we are, I would say even that the culture is the destructive now, because I'm thinking of myself when I'm sitting in the evening during the winter time and watching this series in the television. So they are designed to catch our attention, but they are not working as a process. As a human minds are accustomed to be in process all the time. So process is something in time when you have the beginning, the culmination, and the resolution of this. And then our energy is working like this. If we are not in this process, we are taking facts and we are always hungry. So it is like eating, you know, endless eating without, like eating of air, or like eating something which is completely not valuable for our stomach. So I have this just in mind, this metaphor from Buddhism. I don't know if you have heard that in one word, during the Buddhists is hungry ghosts. They have a very big, large stomach and very thin throats, the gullets. And so they try to eat all the time, but they are always hungry, you know. And this is the greedy, the lust is never be satisfied.
You know, it's fascinating because you describe in a very poetic way what I think many young people feel: loneliness, helplessness, and hopelessness, which is coming out of some of the self-reported things that young people share in anonymous helplines. My question to you is, you have also described mental health, that it's more about relations, interacting, being part of networks, and not so much about an inner state. Is that a correct interpretation?
Yes, as I said before, it seems to me that this lack of mental stability is coming from disconnection. And we can understand this disconnection of very rich relationships with the people and other people, but also a relationship with our environment, with nature. So in a way we are staying connected only with this strange, distracted world in our telephones, let's say, and in this, you know, bombarding of informations and data we cannot complete in our head. So we used to see everything in the small windows, you know. This window is open, oh, this is the war in Ukraine. The next window is the best shampoo for my hair. So everything is connected, and there is no this like a frame we could put everything in and create a kind of pattern to be understood. Our mind desperately need something to understand, something to explain to ourselves. So this destructive mind, it's something new, and I don't know how to treat it, what to do with this distracted mind. Right. This is not enough to say that just put out our smartphones away, just forget about spending evenings without this series in the television. I don't know. I am a writer. I can write an utopia, what will be later on in 200 years, for instance, if the world will be the same. But I cannot find a solution.
We're not going to wait 200 years. We will pick up on your thoughts
thing.
already now, because you know, one thing that folks dealing with mental health issues often say is something that holds back collective action is that we have so many definitions. We don't have a common definition. We don't have a common narrative. And as a prior clinician yourself, once upon a time, you know the difference between those who really feel like mental health should have a diagnosis and a treatment. And then there is the thing one discovers in your writing, which is much more of a continuum of neurodivergence across the continuum, a spectrum. And it would be nice to hear your thought, both as a writer and as a previous psychoanalyst, this dichotomy between the need to diagnose and treat versus this view of mental health as a continuum.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is. Thank you that you perceive this, that we see it in my books, and I feel very safe in this kind of word, because it seems to me that we should treat humanity, sorry for this big word, as a kind of hive. That every single organism or part of this organism is needed in terms of Darwinian evolution, because we have to have as many possibilities as we can. So every single individual keeps something which is very fragile from one side, but also very important, very precious. And perhaps this is the kind of preparing ourselves as a society, as a humankind for the future. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's interesting listening to you, because you've said you're not an activist, but you truly are through your writing. And I have to ask you about that, especially since we have many students and activists here. Your writing has fueled and inspired both our way to think about what eating, but how we think about our fellow animals and the rights to survive and live. So how do you view this, and what advice would you give not only to activists, but to be activists and stay mentally healthy?
Mm-hmm. I said that I am not activist from the kind of psychological reasons, because I have I don't like to be in presence of many people as I am here. I feel a little bit uneasy, and I am not good manager of things. I am quite chaotic and so on. And I treat myself as an activist sitting at home and writing. And even if my writing is not directly devoted, it is not, I hope so, didactic, that I think things which I'm describing or touching are vivid to many people and changing their point of view, which I'm very proud of, because it looks only that literature has a power still.
Yes. Yeah, and it certainly does. And I want to really close by asking you the title that you talked about window earlier. You also talk about mirrors. And you have described mental health as in a strange mirror. Could you say something about that?
It was in a broader context, I think, that what I had in my mind, that I very often think about it as I am looking for unusual narrators for my writing. So I would like in the future to be able to describe the world from the point of view of, let's say, fish or bee or, I don't know, tree. That would be incredible to make my consciousness larger, my awareness of the world, and also it will be great to understand the thing we don't understand from the other point of view. This is really something which fascinates me, because I feel sometimes like in a prison, that we can only see, we can only perceive what is reflecting through our senses. we can see only because we are reduced to our five senses. We are not able to imagine world from the point of view of the bee, let's say. So this perceiving entire reality like a strange mirror reflecting us in our strange world, we cannot manage really. And so it's making entire situation quite horror-like.
So addressing this horror, if you still had patients today or clients as you had many years ago, and someone would come to you and you said literature is my therapy, what would you say to that person? Is it about reading or writing or both?
I think both.
Yeah.
During the lunch, we had a small conversation with one person, and for me, writing and inventing things, it's for sure making me much more peaceful and making, in my distracted mind, making a kind of order. So narrative, every single narrative is good because it's creating like an ox of concentration of facts. So I am escaping from the world of windows, open and half-open windows, and trying to, you know, to make things in order. And also reading. Reading is the second part of this, the second side of this coin. Reading connect me with another people. Train us with empathy, showing the world we never have possibility to see, to meet, teach us how to understand different emotions we never had, to smell another smells, to see another landscapes, so we can travel. So when I was 12 years old, when I discovered Jules Verne or another writers for children at the time, I was convinced that this business is the most important, most powerful business over the world.
I think that's a good note to end on, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.